Welcome back to Cheap Horsepower, everyone. I'm Corey. This is going to be a rebuild series on my 70cc engine, but this will also work on 50cc engines, 110cc engines, and 125cc engines, all of this style. You'll see a lot of these on Apollo dirt bikes, pit bikes, SSR dirt bikes and pit bikes, Teoteos, some of the ATVs from Coolster and Teoteo, Ice Bear. So use this video to help you if you're having catastrophic engine failure like I had, or if you just need a valve adjustment. That's why I did a two-part series. The first part is going to focus on the piston and the cylinder, whereas part 2 is going to focus on the head specifically. So if you just need head work, that's the one you want to focus on. If you want to rebuild the entire motor on the top end, cylinder, piston, and head, you're going to want to watch part 1 and part 2. All right, without further ado, let's get to it. Cleaned up the material here pretty well, and I'm going to go ahead and make sure I have all my parts and pieces. This is very, very important, this part here. You want to make sure this obviously matches up with what came off of the previous motor. That's a good start, right? So yes, it does match up. Yes, everything looks good. Now there's a big difference between these two. You might be able to tell. This is a two-piece system. You're going to want to keep this if the next system is like that, because this part here needs to go in here to seal properly. If it's like this, you don't have to worry about it. This is a much better system. I like this. It does seal better. I've always had better luck with this. Otherwise, you can end up with a smoky engine after a fresh rebuild, which is not horrible. It's just, you know, it's not ideal. So I'm going to go ahead and get all my parts out of here. Usually the piston is in there like this already. You just pull it out and you're able to, you know, get ready to put on your piston ring and everything. The other things to keep, you want to keep these washers in case the new kit does not have them, which they typically don't. You also want to keep these O-rings. If they're in good shape, keep them. Especially like these. This motor is in really good shape, so these O-rings are in really good shape. It's not always the case, so you might want to look for kits that have these. It's very rare to find them. Or get yourself a good gasket kit, because those do not typically come in these cylinder kits that you're going to get. They might have a picture with a bunch of this stuff in it. Typically does not come with it. That's been my experience. So keep those around. This, I'm safe to toss now. I also kept all my other hardware here in the same place, so I know where it is. So when I'm finished up, I'll go ahead and put everything back together where it belongs. That's key with this. Keep it organized, and also have your old cylinder ready so you can match up and know exactly where everything is going. Just like you would do spark plugs, hooking up spark plug wires again, right? You don't take everything all off at once. You do it piece by piece so you know exactly where things go. Like these little dowel helper pins, like they're like alignment dowels. These, they can come off with the head. As you're pulling off the head, these things can come out. So be careful of that. Make sure it all stays together, because at the end of the day, you want a good running engine. You don't want leaks, things like that. These are all things that are going to help you get to that goal. All right, so these are what I'm talking about. Match up your cylinders. If I back out here a little bit, you're going to notice this piece has one of these little guys in there. I believe this is a little bit smaller, so this probably won't be needed. Some of them will need this. So you're going to want to get in there. I have a pick that I could probably get in there with, or get it possibly from the backside. I can get something down there and push it out from this side. So like, I probably won't be able to get it with this pick, but I'll be able to get it with some type of screwdriver or something to drive that piece out. Yeah, it's already lifting out. So yeah, as you can see, it's hopefully going to focus. It's already starting to come out even by pushing it with the pick a little bit. So they're really not that bad to come out. These, they slide right out. These are these little alignment dowels. Very, very important. You want to put them in the right spots. Obviously, I'm going to clean this one out a little bit. It's got some specks of whatever on there, dirt, dust, debris. Obviously, you want it as clean as possible. You know, I'm not building a race engine here, but I still, just out of good practice, make sure it's as clean as possible. No little hairs like I got there. So I'm going to clean that up. But I'm going to go one by one. I'm going to pull that one out, put it there. I'm going to pull this one out, put it there. I'm also going to get the gasket for this, which should be right here, and make sure it fits. Make sure I don't lose that. Nothing will cause an oil leak faster in an oil burning engine like this. Stuff like this. It's not really going to do damage to the engine, but obviously, the more you burn oil, the less clean your engine's going to be. And that's not good. So you want to make sure that's all sealed up. You know, there's a reason why they didn't want oil going in that particular location, so they sealed it. You know what I mean? So just make sure you're doing the proper stuff. But that's easy way to do it is just have it ready. Have it right next to your new head and say, okay, I'm pulling this off. That goes there. Pulling this off. That goes there. And so forth. Like I said, I don't believe this is going to need this little piece, but I'm going to double check for sure. I know there are definitely cylinders out there that you can buy that will need this piece in there. So be very careful of that. See you in the next one. All right. This is why I keep some old pistons around. Obviously, if you saw my other videos, the other piston was so destroyed, it's really hard to see what orientation the piston rings were in. Luckily, I have this out of a 110. It's a very similar engine. But I kept it around because I wanted to see which rings go where. Because you have a couple different colors here. You have the white one on top, the black one there in the middle, and then your oiling ring right there on the bottom. So, these oiling rings, they have two, and then right in the middle, they have this squiggly one. You're basically going to sandwich all of these together. I would get all the openings together in the same spot if you can, and this would be the first one I would put in just because it's a pain in the butt, and I'm gonna do that off camera, but I just wanted to show you. You get, like I said, you get all of these together. Do it as one. Do not try and do one ring in and then try and get this one in and then try and get the bottom one in. It never works out. It really, really doesn't. You want to get all these like it's just one ring, and you get it over the piston, get it down, work its way down into that bottom ring. This is my new piston. The IN stands for intake, by the way. This is going to be pointing up towards the intake. As you can see, the cup is bigger. That's why. This is where the valve goes in and tries not to hit the piston. That's why it gives it a little bit of that leeway. And then obviously it's smaller for the exhaust. But these are going to go in here. What you're going to do is you're going to try and start them like this. And then maybe I can do it on camera. I'm going to try. So, like I said, it's going to be kind of a pain. It might take me a minute. But usually what I like to do is I like to find the openings. So yeah, let's take the time. Let's do this, because I think this is important for you all to see this. If you're working on this, it's just as big of a pain in the butt, whether I'm showing you or not. So this is how I do it. Ready? This one in the middle, it seems bigger just because it's got a little bit more of like spring to it almost. Sandwich it, get all the openings kind of close together. It makes it easier to get it started. Take your 2 fingers, put them through the inside if you can. Put your thumb here. It kind of holds it all together while you get ready with the piston. Sandwich that together. See that? See how small that is? That's what you want. Now, put it right there. And then just work your thumb in. See that? Slowly go around. It's kind of like putting a tire on. See that? The slower you go, the better it goes. Look at how easy that went. See how easy that went? That is the easiest one I've ever put in. And I did that on camera. Look at that. Fancy. All right, now, black one goes in the middle. Same idea. Okay. You're going to take this, take that edge. Start the edge first. I know I went this way with it, so let's do the same way I did the other one. See how easy we can do this. You ready? And we're going to slowly go in. You might get some scratches on the piston. That's fine. All right, let's get this last piston ring in here. And then I got to finish up some stuff. All right, so that one goes in. Same way. I'm just going to slowly work it down. I think it's almost already there. Yep. Bingo. Now, sometimes I'll have these little dots in here. Let's see if this one's got it. I don't believe they do in this one. Sometimes you'll have dots. That's where you're going to align these little slots. You'll actually feel it. It won't go all the way tight unless you get that space within those dots. So it doesn't look like these pistons have them, which makes it easier. Now, here's the other thing a lot of people will talk about. Offset these. So these little spaces, offset them. I'm going to put this one over here, this one over here, and then that one, if I can find it, I'll put it in another location as well. It just helps the piston align when it's going up and down really, really fast. So it does. All right, so we've got our rings in the right place, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this wrist pin. I'm not going to install it yet. What I'm doing here is I'm getting it right to the edge to make installing the first snap ring much easier on myself. These little snap rings, there's 2 of them. One goes on each side. They're a pain in the ass. You're going to want to take this. I usually put it like this in a needle nose plier. And then I'll put, as you can see, I kind of start it just like I did with the piston rings. And you just kind of walk it in. Now, it's stuck against my glove, but that's okay. Now what I do is I just kind of push it in. And then, you see how it's kind of off kilter? Hopefully you can pick that up. Yep. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to push that wrist pin out towards my thumb, and bam, there it goes. Now it's locked into place. See how much easier that was? You kind of use that wrist pin in the back to help you out as kind of a guide. And then what I'll do is I'll put this on the rod, and that'll be the next part. All right, so intake is this way. This is the top of the motor. This is how I know. This right here is the crank pressure vent. I might end up using that for a fuel pump. We'll see. But anyways, kind of explained why these divots are here and why they're different sizes and why one is marked intake and the other is exhaust. It's because the intake valve is bigger. So this goes on like this. Snap ring's already on the other side, as you can see there. So I'm going to push the wrist pin through this way. Let's see if I can get this on camera. So piston, you're going to go through the 4 pieces that are here. It'll get right to the middle.
You get that wrist pin to go right through everything. Let's see. Kind of got to play with it and get the wrist pin to go through. There it goes.
Okay, so I have the cylinder set on there. Pistons here. What I've been doing is I've been grabbing from each side of this, but what I'll do is I'll slide this down onto the piston and grab from both sides so it's even, and I'll drop this down. As I'm dropping this down, I'm making sure this stays where it needs to stay. I already have my gasket there as well, as you can hopefully see. And then I'm just going to feed this up through. All right, now with this in place, I'm just going to keep on pushing down until it reaches to the bottom and just lay the chain up. I'm going to go ahead and put in my set screw. All right, this part's going to be really important. I like using this pick because it's super easy. I can grab the chain, and then as you can see, my guide is also down there. So I'm going to lift this up using the pick, and then I'm going to manipulate this piece here and get it close to center and pull up on the chain. It'll kind of hold it in place so I can get this in there. Now I can kind of see where it's poking through, and just needs to come up a little bit more. So I'm going to use my pick again. There it is. And now it's through. I can just feed it right in. All right, I'm going to make sure my dowel pin is set. They're all set. I'm going to grab another one of these guys. They're all matching sizes for the holes they need to go in, so that makes it much easier. So it's very hard to get it wrong. Okay, my beautiful refreshened head gets the slide right on. So let me get that on and I'll get back with you in a second. All right, look at how pretty that looks. It is all brand new stuff basically, except for this head. I am reusing it even though it does look new. You're gonna want to make sure the chain is in a good position so you can grab it. Again, your pick is your best friend with that, and that's why this piece will also have to come off, so it makes it. Just wanted to make a quick note, that last orange little O-ring that I had, like these guys, that went right there. All right, something I want to show you before I put this head on is that right there. I want to orientate it like that, top dead center, and put this up. So, hold on. There you go. Because right now, my piston is about top dead center. I want to get that as close to top dead center as possible and get this pointing straight up. So it'll be pretty much top dead center when I put everything back together. And it makes it so much easier to get timing and everything right if you do it right now. Get it right on the right chain loop. All right, and like I just mentioned, I'm getting this all at top dead center. So when I feed this up, it'll be ready to bolt on to the head. And see, I'm holding it with my thumb right here as I'm getting it all set. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to leverage this piece onto that center ring as best I can, and then try